Welcome back to the Happy Motoring channel. Today we're working in the shop. Well, technically outside the shop, but 6 half one does another. What's the difference? It's a nice night out. We're gonna work outside. We have a 5th gen 4Runner, which you've seen on the channel before, and we are gonna put a winch bumper on it. One of the little inserts that goes just in the middle. Now, I don't know if you own a limited 4Runner or not, but if you own a limited 4Runner, then you know that nothing fits. You know, all the accessories they make for 4Runners, they fit everything but a limited. So same as the case with the bumper. I couldn't find a bumper that actually fit a limited unless you wanted to, you know, cut the whole bottom section out and do a whole bottom half, and I didn't want to do that. I just want to do the center insert like you see on most 4Runners nowadays. So I found one, and it doesn't fit a limited, but we're going to make it work. So a little modification, we should be able to get it to work. I've run into that with almost all the accessories I put on this thing, is that they don't fit limiteds, at least they say. The Molly panels that we did before, I'll link a video to it, that didn't fit a limited either. Didn't fit a 3rd row. Oh, no problem. They're in there. Worked just fine. So we'll have to do some modifications of the bumper, have to do some cutting and trimming, but it should work. So stick around and find out. All right, first things first, we got to get the bumper off so we can mount the winch bumper to the chassis, the frame. So I'll kind of walk you through what we're doing to take the bumper off. Should be a pretty simple process. You're going to start by taking this cover off right here. So you got to take all these little clips out first. You're supposed to pop this up at the centerpiece and then pull it out. I found with these ones, if you just push them in, they'll pop right out. So, and then once you have them out, you can redo that in your reverse order to put them back in. Okay, now that we've got that out, we got to take this upper section of the grill out with these clips here, here, this guy here. It's a 10 mil. There are more clips down here. These guys. It's like 4 of them, 2 on each side. Got to get those out. Okay, there are some 10 millimeters you got to take for the fender liner out. Right here, 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 to get that section of the bumper off. Okay, on the bottom, you got one here, one here. There should be one there, and another one over here, but mine are missing those. So then we got on the passenger side, those 2 there, right there, right there. We'll pop those off. The dog's here to help me get it off, you know, in case things go south, she can go for help. Okay, maybe disconnect the fog lights first, unless you like doing it the hard way, like I do, having to reach in there while the bumper's hanging. Of course, that's, you know, just the same. Okay, now we got to get the original bumper support off. So it looks like there's 3 screws here, 1 here, 1 here, 3 here. Look like maybe like a 14 millimeter. We got to take all those out. So 4 per side, 8, and then this should pull off. Let's go for it. This one's pretty light. There's the new one. It's a body armor. Picked it up on Amazon. The reason I chose this one is it's got really square edges, so I think it'll fit the limited the best. So we'll start bolting it up here in just a second. Okay, this air dam here for the radiator and condenser, it has to be trimmed for the bumper. That's the same on a standard 4Runner or the limited. So you just you take them off, kind of put it up and just eyeball it is what it says to do. It was actually pretty easy. You just cut kind of right here where it squares off. Just cut it off right there and just kind of angle it down with that, and it pops right in there. So I'm gonna do the same thing with the other side. Put these back in, and then we'll start working on the bumper fitment. Perfect. That'll work. Put these clips back in. Don't you miss the days when cars were put together with bolts instead of plastic clips? I guess they're easy to take off sometimes, but they never go back together quite the same way. So to cut it, I'm going to measure from right here where that top grill piece clips into to the top of this bumper. So we kind of have a reference point for both. It's about 11.5 inches. So now if I come down 11.5 inches from where these clips are at, that is going to be, roughly where I need to cut it. So looks like kind of just above this line right here. So I'll probably start by just pulling this grill out, maybe pulling this grill out here and then cutting this section out, and then go to kind of cut this section last. All right, I took off all the grill portions of it. They all just have screws and snaps on the back sides of it, and it takes all this stuff out. And then I put this back in where it's going to snap in here and here. Just set some screwdrivers in there to hold it. Now I can kind of get a point of reference and see and kind of mark where I'm going to need to cut it width-wise and approximate height-wise. And the nice thing is I can kind of hack this up, put it back on, and then the grill piece I can fine-tune to get right where I want it against the bumper. So I got to be careful on the bottom though. Don't have that luxury on the bottom. But let's get to it. All right, first attempt. Not terrible. Gotta go a little bit wider. Definitely lower, and maybe a hair higher. Okay, attempt number 2. Ooh, that's looking promising. Yeah, look at that. Now we're getting somewhere. All right, well. I think I'm just gonna button it up for tonight so the wife can use it tomorrow. Yeah, I think we can do some fine tuning on the trimming and panels and get it look okay from here. I'd say we're on our way to a success. All right, day 2, we're gonna take the bumper back off, and we got a winch we're gonna put on there. Got an Ironman 12K winch we're gonna mount in there, and then we'll put this back on and start sorting out all the trim pieces, getting those cut to fit. All right, this is it. Got the Ironman Frontier. It's their new model. It's a synthetic rope. It's a 12,000 pound. Probably a little overkill for the 4Runner, but wasn't much difference in price than a 9,500 pound one. So went with the big one. So we'll get it opened up, see how she looks. Yeah, very nice. Should work really well in there. Now we gotta drop it in there. Hopefully it bolts up without any drilling. We'll find out. I think we might get lucky. I think she might bolt right in. Okay, the winch is mounted. Got it all bolted in and installed, wired up. I found this spot right here to put the box. It just seemed like, I don't know, probably the best place for it. You don't have a lot of wires to run to the winch. So hooked all those up. I just zip tied these back here to keep them away from the spool and to keep them away from the radiator and condenser. The power and ground, ran them up here, zip tied them. I'm gonna probably put some split loom on there to protect them a little bit better. And then there's a breather that I went up this way with. Ran it up another engine compartment up here, and ran the power and ground behind the horns, up behind the light, and then down around back in here and hooked her up to the battery. So I'll try to keep it pretty clean, keep all the wires out of the way. But wasn't too bad of an install. Went on pretty good, and we're all hooked up and operational now. So she's ready to go. This part right here, it's got these protectors on it, but I'm gonna cut a piece of radiator hose and put over here just to give it a little insulation so it doesn't vibrate against there. And then down here where it mounts up, I'll probably put like some 1/2-inch spacers on either side just to bring it out a little bit more clearance. So it should work out okay. Now back to putting the bumper on. I think I'm gonna do a trim along the bottom bumper and probably lose these lower pieces and just trim it off like right here. There's some other guys on forums and whatnot who have cut them pretty straight across, right kind of the bottom of that winch bumper. Looks pretty good. The only thing I'm not crazy about is how it lines up with the fender skirts, because it comes up a little bit higher up here. But I'm gonna put the bumper back on and see what I think. Okay, so my original plan was to just notch out this section here and leave the lower bumper, but I decided after looking at some other pictures of some and seeing how this one looked after I notched out the center, I didn't like how this was kind of just flopping loose, and it was in the way of the winch lead really. So I went ahead and just cut the whole lower section off. As you can see, I just did a tape line about 1 inch above the chrome section here, just underneath the parking sensors, and just cut it right along there, just under the parking sensor. So just did the tape line here just to help me along the way. I think it turned out pretty good. I might round this off a little bit, not sure, but the bumper did come with some little bumper edge that I'll probably put along here, so it'll clean it up a little bit, but it looks pretty good as is, really. And it adds, geez, 6-8 inches of clearance probably. There's like a little air dam thing down here. I'll take that off. Don't need that now that that lower piece is not there. All right, day 3, well, after work, night 3. We're gonna try to fit this piece here. We're gonna trim that. And the fog light covers, a little bit of trimming right here. And then at that point, once that's done, we'll reattach the bumper permanently. And then I gotta secure that aftermarket piece back on here. And then I'll probably do a little bit more trimming down here and then finish it off with a little bumper edge trim. And then I think this project will be a wrap. Ground that down and then did this about a 45. So on the back side, kind of came down even with this here, and then 45'd it off to there, and it's pretty nice now. A little room for movement, but it's got a pretty good clearance fit there. So now separate this middle section and cut off, looks like maybe about a 1/2 inch. Okay, starting to look like something now. Let's see, now we have to trim this section. Get it to fit nicely right along there. Okay, got that piece cut off down there. Fit there. And then this section right here, cut off about a 1/2 inch on the bottom side. But one thing I discovered is as soon as I started touching this thing, these all just started breaking off, and like all they're held with is these little tiny pieces right there. So there's really no structure to it at all, but it looks like this piece sits pretty much flush against here and here. So I'm just going to take some 3M automotive double-sided tape and just tape it back onto there, because these really weren't doing much. I could glue them back on, but it seems easier just double-sided tape it. Ta-da! Finished product. All right, well, it wasn't my initial envision of what it was going to look like. I thought I'd maintain the factory bumper height and just cut this out, but that didn't really work out, so we did the bumper trim along the bottom. I'm actually really pleased with it, especially after you put the little bumper trim edge on here. It really kind of finishes it off, so it doesn't look like it's just a cut-off edge. So I think it fit really nice. Had to obviously trim all this up a little bit. And in case you're wondering, this is black vinyl wrap over here, and then this is the TRD Pro grill swap. This is a cheap aftermarket one I picked up on the internet, but it worked pretty good. So I'm very happy with how it turned out. So tell me what you think. Drop a comment down below. Thanks for watching. Oh, and just in case you're curious, this is all the junk that you're left with. Lower bumper piece, the absorber, got the grill parts, lower fender liners, and then the original stock bumper reinforcement. So yeah, a lot of stuff came off of here, so gotta get rid of it all now. All right, guys, so that's gonna do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed the adventure. We have a lot of fun making these videos and sharing our experiences with you, taking you along for the ride. So hopefully you enjoy watching the show. And if you do, hit that like button. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Nobody said you could go yet. You've got to subscribe first. Hit that subscribe button down there on the bottom of the page. You know you want to be on the next adventure, right? Come on, do it. All right, enough teasing, enough teasing. Until next time, happy motoring.